Hi, welcome to Above Deck, a below deck breakdown podcast. I'm Sarah Goldman, a photographer and former marine biologist living in Charleston, South Carolina. And with me is my college roommate and co-host, Kelly.
I'm Kelly Busby, former radio host and current volleyball mom, coming to you from the world headquarters of the Above Deck podcast.
We're together. We're in Charleston with Andy Cohen. Can you believe it?
He had time in his schedule, said he'd come on down. So here we go. So we had a radio show in college called the Saxo Sandals Radio Show on WFAL in Bowling Green. And now we are back together to talk about our love of all things Bravo.
Today we'll be discussing Below Deck Med Season 9, Episode 2, Sneak, Sip, or Sink.
Who thought up that title?
I don't know.
Good gravy. All right, here's your recap. There are still no provisions on day 2 of the first charter, but the deckhands save the day by getting rosé from a neighboring yacht. And the guests wonder where their laundry is. Aesha manages issues with her stews. Sarah, what'd you think?
That was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
I loved the part where they got the wine from the neighboring yacht.
That was
Everyone was so happy.
so smart.
Yes.
So smart.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, deckhands. So this episode begins with Ellie waking up Jono for the second time. And again, he says no. Gael, thankfully, is helping make the grilled cheese.
Ladies and gentlemen, the panini press has entered the room.
Has entered the chat.
Did Jono go back to sleep after the second wake up?
I don't know. You thought not. We watched this episode together.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I mean, they showed that they made it seem that he didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So the guests start making drinks and food themselves. This is never a good sign.
But fun.
Yeah. So the guests are up till like 4 a.m. and Ellie doesn't go to bed till like 6.
And guess what? They were full after their grilled cheese. We called it.
Yeah, totally.
We called it.
Did not need nachos and all the things they asked for.
I was exhausted from watching this episode, so I can't even imagine what Ellie was going through. It made for a very long first charter.
Yeah, very long. It was a short charter, and yet it was a very long charter.
Gosh, yeah.
So the next day, Ian tells Sandy that someone came into their cabin last night to get the chef to cook something.
Mm-hmm.
And Sandy wants names.
And Ian thought it was a dream.
So the provisioner is still giving everybody the runaround, and now they're saying the wine won't arrive until this evening. You know, when the charter's done.
Okay, so I mean, Captain Sandy and Aesha, it's like as soon as they woke up, they're texting this provisioner, and it seemed that they were doing it first thing in the morning, and they still had no answers for them. So they had like the overnight to try and work on this, but they had no answers other than to say, we'll have it to you later.
I think that there is no rosé. Like, they're just snuffing around for these people.
In Greece, how can Greece?
Not
like Athens,
yeah.
Greece, not even like remote, like Athens,
yeah, you're
Greece,
not some remote island.
Yeah. I don't know.
So Ian spent some time teaching his deck team about the anchor and docking, and he seems like a really good teacher. We don't always see that with both. Aesha and Jono chat a little bit about what happened the night before, and Aesha points out that the guests did put on their preference sheet that they wanted late night snacks.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah.
I like how she responded, though. To be fair. And he owned it. So it's the first charter and these things can happen. So I guarantee it won't happen again.
Yeah, for sure. Sandy calls Jono to the bridge and she says, next time, you know, make the paninis ahead of time or at least get everything prepped so that the stews can serve the food easily. And Sandy says, it's one thing, you know, if the chef has just gone down, like just gone to bed and you're like, hey, can you come back real quick? But you should never wake the chef hours after they went to bed.
Yeah. So I'm wondering how this is going to play out between Jono and Ellie, because I'm a bit worried because they're both very ambitious people. And so, and they both want to be in the right.
Yeah.
And so I hope it doesn't get too messy. I mean, we do like a little mess, but not super messy.
So now people have pointed out that Sandy once woke up Chef Tom, Malia's ex-boyfriend, but current boyfriend from season 5. He had filled in for a few charters. She woke him up one time just to cut up a cucumber.
That's
And I did remember this, but I went back and watched this clip. Now, there's a big difference between this situation and that situation.
Okay.
Because Tom was just taking a nap midday, like a 15-minute, he said 15-minute break.
Right.
He was snuggling with Malia in her bunk. So I think Sandy was more annoyed that the two of them like lined up their breaks and were like sneaking off together in the middle of the day. And the guests needed some food and he wasn't available. So I don't think those are really comparable.
No.
Like it's not the same thing. So also after watching that, I'm so reminded how much of a jerk Tom was. He made Aesha cry.
No.
Because she was the one that like asked for the cucumber. He was so mean, and I'm now remembering flashbacks from his hands. Yeah, it was horrible.
He was like, okay, so one, thank you for doing the Lord's work and watching that for us to it is a much different scenario.
Yeah, so Team Sandy on this situation.
Absolutely. And how dare you make Aesha cry? Rude. Not right.
It was so mean.
Yeah.
Aesha tells Ellie they should never be up for more than an hour after the guests go to bed.
Okay.
Otherwise, it means you've been spending too much time with the guests and not like getting all the little things done that you have to get done.
Oh, that's a good point. They've never really shared like how that works, but I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The guidelines on their bedtimes, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
We know how everything else works, but.
Yeah. So the guests are asking for rosé, and Sandy suggests that they ask the super yacht that's nearby if they have any. And so she gives Joe some cash, and I think, is it he and Nathan?
Yeah.
That go? They take the tender to go ask, and I feel like they're wine pirates.
I would like to liken this to asking your neighbor for like a cup of sugar or some milk or something. Yeah. Or like the Grey Poupon commercials from the early 1990s, like the late 1900s. You know, excuse me, do you have any rosé? Like,
yes. And I love that everyone is watching. Like, they're all over at the railing. The other boat says sure, but it's $75 per bottle. And Joe is such a salesman. He's like, how can we like get this in your pocket? You know, like, how can we make this happen?
Yeah.
But they get it, and everyone's cheering. The guests are so happy. They're happy with the food. They're happy they have rosé finally. It's good.
Yay for our wine pirates. I feel like we need to play like a meme with the Pirates of the Caribbean with them floating out there.
So things are a little awkward between Alina and Jono, kind of understandably.
Yeah.
And she is expecting an apology from him. And I think he is expecting an apology from her.
I'm sorry, what?
I know. This is such a housewife situation.
So in her green screens, Ellie was shaping herself to be the victim. And that was a little awkward, I think we all thought. But I'm not saying she didn't have a reason to be upset, but she doesn't work in a one-person department. So, you know, there's a fine balance. But it is definitely a housewife situation. So let the talking behind the backs commence. What do you think, Andy?
He's just so wrote a book called Most Talkative, and he's not very talkative. I don't know. So meanwhile, there are still problems in the laundry department. One kid cannot find his pants, and so he's just wearing a shirt, presumably with some underwear, but just a shirt, no pants.
That's all we see.
That's all we saw. That boarding school that Bree went to obviously didn't teach her anything about laundry.
Does boarding school teach you how to do laundry?
Probably. I mean, I haven't
like
been
in federal
school, but yeah, it sounds like you just send it off and it just comes back.
It's magic.
Pressed, folded, all that.
Put away.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Okay, so question about the laundry. The guests are only there for a day and a half. Why are we doing so much laundry? Day and a half.
That's a good point.
Why?
I'm not sure, but here, I'm not sure if you've been on a super yacht before, Sarah, but this is what we do, a la Downton Abbey, if you will. Okay. So every time we do something, we change our outfits, and then we throw it on the floor in a ball, and then people think that you have to clean it up. It's just how it works.
Okay, all right, got it.
I'm not saying I agree with it.
Well, the pants are located.
Yay!
That's where they leave.
We wouldn't want some young men to be walking around naked.
Well, not that young of men.
No. Yeah, no, that's right.
Okay, now it's water sports time. There's something so nerdy about jet skis to me. Is it just me?
Yes.
It is just me.
I don't know.
They're cool.
I mean, they're fun.
Even when two people like are riding.
I don't know if I call it nerdy.
Okay.
I don't see. I guess I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything wrong with it, but it just struck me as super nerdy when I was watching it. But I also have never been on a jet ski, so maybe I don't know about the power between your legs.
That's a good point.
I don't know. Okay, so the first docking.
Okay.
Joe's having trouble with the windlass on the bow, and the boat gets docked, but it's not perfect. It's a little sloppy. And Sandy says he really should have like just used some muscle, like hold it in, do that first, and then use the windlass. And Nathan says there was nothing wrong with that windlass. It was, user error.
This was a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Because he said it right in front of Sandy.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
So they get apart, and Jacob tells Sandy they really loved everything, especially the food.
Yeah.
They loved Jono's food. The only issues were the missing clothes and the lack of provisions. Obviously, the lack of provisions can't be helped.
Yeah.
So Aesha has a chat with her stews, and she tells Bree, I'm not mad, about the screw-ups and laundry, but if you're still like this on Charter 5, like, we're going to have a problem.
That's going to be a huge problem. If any of this is still happening by Charter 5, it's going to be a very interesting season.
If we are not getting provisions by Charter 5. It's also going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So the tip meeting, $15K, nice tip for a short charter.
For a day and a half.
Yeah.
I make that.
Sandy praises everyone for kind of making lemonade out of lemons. And, it was a tough first charter, especially for the chef.
Yeah.
And Sandy reiterates, you never wake the chef. And after the meeting, Alina is upset because no one is concerned about what she was dealing with last night. It's a little dramatic.
It's done. It's over. Let's move forward.
She said she had been working for like 25 hours.
I mean, I get it. And I probably, that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah. We love Alina, but this seemed a little dramatic.
Yeah.
Okay. First night out. What a view from the restaurant. Just gorgeous.
Definitely on the bucket list. So pretty.
So pretty. Aesha and Gael are chatting, and Gael admits that she's worried about her boyfriend cheating, like when they aren't together, when they're working on separate boats. And Nathan is listening across the table, and he is like a shark circling.
If this is a concern of hers now, she needs to let him go.
Yeah.
This is just not good. It's not healthy.
Yeah. That was Aisha's point too. She's like, me and Scott, like, we never like worry about that. Never. You will never control me. Kyle. So next they go dancing, and Bree and Ellie both have their eyes on Joe, Mr. Eyebrows.
I was gonna say it's the eyebrows, but he can dance.
He can really dance.
And he was like walking him through the steps and stuff. I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, no, that was cool. So there's some discussion between Nathan and a producer about what having a strawberry, in quotes, means between him and Gael. They have some kind of secret code.
Yeah.
And he will not tell.
He did say we will find out soon enough, though, with his sly little Irish smirk.
Yes. Okay, so back to the boat. Nathan tells Gael they should try to lose these cameras. And
the first night out, they're already trying. Okay.
Yeah. And so they go to bed, but they're immediately like texting each other. Have they not seen the show? Do they not know they're going to put their texts like up on the screen? Anyway, they decide they're going to meet in the starboard bow locker.
Why in the starboard bow locker? I mean, I know there's no cameras, but
well, it's better than the trash hole that Culver did.
Oh, that's true.
Gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, we end the episode there.
Okay. So, oh yeah, it was a to be continued, so we don't even know what's happening next week yet.
Mm-hmm.
Dun. Yeah. Okay.
It's now time for a new segment we're calling Acting Like Aesha. Okay. Where we attempt to say an Aesha quote like the Kiwi Queen herself. Okay, Kelly, I'm going to play an Aesha quote for you, and then you will attempt to imitate it.
Okay.
In her voice.
In her voice. Okay.
Okay, let me pull it up.
That sounds amazing.
You got it?
I think so, yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
That sounds amazing.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, here we go. Let's try this one.
The meat is where it all started for me.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mid is where it all started for me.
Yes. Aesha, we love you. And this is why we do this. It's because I can't even tell you like how much we love Aesha. I love her so much. She's
so
amazing.
cute. I love her.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to our friend Alex P. Taylor who gave us this idea for this quote segment.
Yes.
Because he loved the phrases with Fraser. And so he thought this would be a fun one. So
What do you think?
Andy? Okay. Great.
More to come.
Yeah. So I think it'll be fun to like not know what quote each other has picked and then we'll like play it. Okay.
That'll be good. All right. Awesome. It's time for Hot Tub Convo, where we discuss what's happening with our favorite Below Deck cast members.
I just want to remind everyone that we have merch.
Yes.
You can support this podcast and share your love of Above Deck with t-shirts, adventure hoodies, hats, mugs, water bottles, and stickers.
Yes.
And there's even a sweatshirt that has the Above Deck logo right here. And then on the back, it says, all I wanted was good night Doritos.
Oh, Haley.
Haley. So the other day we saw a profile photo of someone wearing an Above Deck shirt on Instagram, and that like made our day. That was so cool.
Thanks so much.
But if you click the link in our Insta bio, or there's a link in the show notes on the podcast, you can get to the shop on Hurrdat Media's website.
Hurrdat.
Thank you.
There you go. All right. So the Traitors season 3 cast was announced, and I was super geeked about this.
Yeah.
Because now I'm hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, though, there were no Below Deck folks this time. So from Bravo, we have the following: Tom Sandoval.
Okay.
Did I say his name weird?
Sandoval.
Tom Sandoval.
Yeah, there you go.
Too much time in the sun, I guess. Chanel Ian, Dolores
I
Quintana.
think it's Chanel Ayan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Chanel Ion.
I think.
Yeah.
From Dubai.
Dolores Catania.
Sure.
Sierra Miller. Dorinda Medley. I'm excited about Dorinda. And Robin Dixon. So Sarah, what do you think of the cast?
Very excited about Dorinda, of course.
Yes.
I think Tom Sandoval was a good choice. It's kind of a random mix, but I guess it always is.
It always is. Yeah.
I think it was a huge mistake for them not to pick at least one Below Deck person, because it has a huge viewership.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you would get people watching just because of being Below Deck fans. So,
well, and I think they could have done without Britney Spears' ex-husband.
Random. Or what about Zac Efron's brother? That was one of them.
Are we hurting for like B and C-list celebrities?
People
Like,
are chomping at the bit to be on the show.
that's just weird. But anyway, so it starts right soon. So we'll be watching.
Yeah, I don't know when, but
All right.
presumably they have filmed.
Awesome.
So sadly, Captain Lee and Carl Radke had a falling out. You know, they had a close friendship.
Yeah.
Captain Lee had Carl on his podcast, Salty,
Mhm.
and he wanted to give Carl a safe place to kind of tell his side of the story with what happened with Lindsay and the breakup. And Lee said, you know, if there were any questions that he didn't want, they took them out.
Yeah, which
they
is the
told
right
him,
thing to
like,
do.
Anything you want edited out, we'll take it out. Like, it was just a chance for him to like have a safe space. And so they released a teaser for the episode, and Carl immediately called Captain Lee and just like went off saying like he was taking advantage of him.
Whoa.
And trying to put him on the spot. And Lee said he was like totally blown away by the interaction.
Yeah.
And Carl even hung up the phone on him, and they have not talked since. Isn't that sad?
That is really sad.
Yeah.
That sounds not good.
I know. It sounds like not healthy.
No.
So
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's been rough the last couple of weeks because of they've been doing summer house reunion stuff. So like a lot of stuff is coming up again, and people are not really pro him right now from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's what it seems.
Yeah.
I've been texting my friend Kate, who joined us on the pod that one time, and it's like week to week, I'm like, I think I'm Team Lindsay. And I'm like, no, I'm back to Team
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I keep going back and forth. I mean, they're both toxic in their own ways.
Oh, for
probably.
sure. Yeah.
So, but generally I've been Team Carl, so I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel bad. He's probably, he's going through stuff. So
Yeah, that's sad.
yeah, I just hope that he remains strong in his sobriety.
It's time for our segment, Join Me in the Wheelhouse, where we decide who needs to see Captain Sandy for a stern talking to. So, Sarah, who did you pick this week?
I did not pick anybody.
Okay.
I guess, oh gosh, I guess I'm going to pick Elena.
Yeah. Yeah, because
I
she did it
guess.
again a second time.
Yeah, for waking him up. But I do kind of want to give her a pass, just because she didn't know. And
Right.
Sandy said that. So maybe a little Elena, maybe a little Jono. I don't know.
The provisioner.
Oh, for sure, the provision.
Yeah.
Yeah, that provision company is fired.
Peace out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Above Deck. Thank you to our team at Hurrdat Media, especially Grace. Please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to tell a friend, and please rate and review us 5 stars only.
You can follow us on Instagram at Above Deck Pod and email us at abovedeckpod@gmail.com. And you can watch our episodes on the Hurrdat Media YouTube channel. So until next time, I'll be back in Columbus, and I'm Kelly Busby.
And I'm Sarah Goldman. I'll be here in Charleston. See you next week.